And hello, everyone. Welcome to the Taylor versus Trump prediction show. And it's great to see everybody. I hope you can hear me okay. I think my mic is working. This is a special just for the valedictorians. And we're going to get into what I really think about Trump. And it's not going to be that political, it's going to be more predictive. What we can see, what we could have seen and what is coming up this year? It has been a pretty bad year for Trump. And there are going to be some shocks for Taylor. So we kind of want to organize everything and see what's what. And we're going to start with just looking at some of the headlines right after I say hi. Oh, hey, Colby, nice to see you. And Marion's here, Toy. Hope you can stay awake, Marion. I have been having a problem the whole day. And then on top of that, with Mars and Pluto and everything else in the sky, it's a weird energy right now. Amy's here. Nice to see you. And all right, we got a group. So let's go to some of the headlines. Hope some of you aren't offended because I'm going to be looking at the CNN headlines. But, and just for a minute, I'm not going to read the whole thing, but judge orders Trump and companies to pay nearly $355 million in civil fraud trial. You wonder if that makes a difference. I mean, I'm sure he doesn't like to lose in general, but what is $355 million to him? I just wonder. I don't know. So, but I'm sure he's upset because that's money he could have used for his campaign. All right. So, some of the key takeaways: Judge Arthur Engoron hit Donald Trump with his biggest punishment to date on Friday, today, in a ruling that fined the former president $355 million for fraudulently inflating the values of his properties. So the judge found Trump liable for fraud, conspiracy, and issuing false financial statements and false business records, and he barred him from serving as director of a company in New York for 3 years. Oof. Wow. Uh, while he stopped short of dissolving the Trump organization altogether, Engoron issued a blistering 93-page opinion that painted the former president as unremorseful and highly likely to commit fraud again. So there's a whole list of the takeaways. The judge banned Trump from serving as an officer or director of a New York corporation for 3 years, but did not issue the so-called corporate death penalty. And judge said Cohen told the truth. Engoron recapped Michael Cohen's theatrical trial testimony, acknowledging the credibility issues with Trump's former lawyer and fixer, but ultimately he believed Cohen. And the adult sons are banned. They have essentially run the Trump organization since 2017 and are barred from serving as executives in New York for 2 years. The Trumps will have to navigate the 2-year penalty as they sort out the future of the family-run real estate company. So Trump will likely be forced to turn over full judgment amount of $355 million to move ahead with appeal. Whew. I'm sure he'll find a way. Okay. So let's get over to the slides. Where did I put them? Let me see here. Okay. Let me just minimize this for a second. All right. And just as a reminder, I will be on with Amber tomorrow night, and we're going to be talking about the missing person's case over in Spain of an American who was visiting after a very bad divorce, and she decided to take off, and nobody's heard from her since February 2nd. So Anna Knezovic, I believe that's how you say her name. So we're going to be looking into that tomorrow. And I just wanted to go to quickly to Meghan Markle. We've been seeing her in the news. In fact, I'm going to just show you what we've been seeing. She's been on TV, and we were talking about that in her prediction show. And she is on camera with her husband Harry, and they're making some videos. Really, they're with a GMA crew and talking about the Invictus Games. And so that's something that we saw in Meghan Markle's chart. So about Trump, yes. Yep. So you can see, they're enjoying themselves. They're up north. They're filming something everybody in the world is seeing. And it seems, God, they're such a handsome couple. So I'm happy for them. Toy. I keep asking out loud to myself, damn, did she do those charts because she saw it coming or what? My hubs walks up and says, what? That's too funny. Good. Then I can really talk about how I feel. So let's just remember this. They are, and of course, they're being interviewed by Christopher Reeve's son, who looks like him. And I'm so proud. I'm just so proud. All right. Back to the slides. And I'm just going to mark this up real quick for Meghan Markle. And you know how when you are, just doing your thing, and then a lot of stuff happens in 1 month, and you're like, God, when it rains, it pours. This is crazy. Well, that's what happened with Meghan and Harry. And if you can see hold on. This is the house that she's in right now, starting February 4th and ending March 4th. We were talking about the fact that she was going to get some sad news, which was pretty much right as her seventh house activated on February 4th. I believe the announcement came out on maybe the 6th about King Charles. Then we were also looking at the moon and Neptune and how there was an amazing sextile here to Uranus in the ninth house and the fifth house. Well, the fifth house we thought might have something to do with the royal family because Pluto is the monarchy. And maybe something good was happening. Well, he would be talking about his family he meaning Prince Harry was on camera with GMA and saying how much he loved his family. And so saying really nice things. And then remember, it's about the Invictus Games, which would be the fifth house. Pluto being in Capricorn. Hey, Shauna. That's a lot of snow. And also, Saturn it's right on the cusp of the seventh house, which means up north and cold. So, gave us a little bit of a glimpse as to what their month was going to be. And it was going to be packed. They were going to do a lot of things. Harry was going to go abroad, ninth house, to see his dad, Saturn. He was going to go back, and then they were going to go and promote the Invictus Games, fifth house. They were going to be doing different things. He was going to be on a bobsled or whatever he was doing. And then they were talking about changing their names. Amazing. And Pluto is to change. Uranus is also to change. So there's talking about changing something, which I think is a stroke of genius. I think they should do that. If you change your name and you come from a very, if you think your family is extremely toxic, what better way to change that energy than to change your name? I love it. All right, so enough of that. We're getting on to Taylor Swift's chart. There's a couple of things that are interesting about it. First of all, we're seeing a yod here, finger of fate. This began December 13th. Remember how she always talks about how 13 is her lucky number? Well, 13 is the number that is used to start every house. So things are activated. Just by the way, I'm sure she doesn't know that. So between December 13th and January 13th, there was going to be a lot of success going on to some degree, especially with her mate. Pluto is here representing Travis. Travis is in Scorpio here. So this is a champion she's talking to. Then February 13th, January 13th to February 13th, that would be Mercury. And another indicator, this would be Super Bowl month. Look at that. Amazing, amazing grand trine. Super powerful, excitement, just tons of good stuff happening that month. Now we've got December, January, February 13th to December, January, February to March 13th. Okay. So we just got into this, and I believe this was activating the month, and this would be when the moon would be activated. So this is activating, and I'm going to move on from this in a second, but January, February, I mean, it doesn't look like, February is going to be much because it's empty, right? Well, you've got to go to the Lord to check it out. And it's in the 8th house. So there would be emotions, there would be the public, there would be deaths in public, and very, very difficult. Now, you don't really see many bad aspects to it, which is odd. But my theory is that, ooh, check this out. You can see a quincunx to part of fortune here, tied to her boyfriend. She's not liking how boyfriend is handling, the deaths in public, the Kansas City, Missouri murders. And, crazy how, was it 8 people that were killed or was it 22 people injured? I mean, we've got some serious numbers that we always look at. But we're seeing the moon in the 8th house. This is deaths in public, but she wasn't there. She skipped it. So that would attribute for, basically she's okay. Okay. So anyway, we're coming around here and we've got the whole chart basically to go. The 12th house is packed. This is going to be November. And then we've got, we still have some stuff going on with her mate. And we're not really talking about him. We're talking about Trump this time. What do I see when I look at her chart and I think of Trump? I think that this is Trump. Sun is a president. In Sagittarius, this is an American president. With Mars, this is an angry, angry American president. But by October, it seems. And why do I say October? Because Neptune is there. And Neptune is making a square to Trump. And often when we have squares, it shows that they disappear. Something happens and they have to step out. So I think there's a high chance that Donald Trump might not run or something is happening where he stops talking, he stops fighting with Taylor Swift. It just seems like something's happening there, and that's right around the, um, the voting time, so, October surprise, right? So that's gonna be October 13th to November 13th. So weird. Now, right around that month, starting October 13th, we have Saturn here at the very top, and it's in this T square. I am not sure what that is. It could represent a family member, but we could look at the ninth house because the ninth house is what Saturn represents. It's basically the diplomat of the ninth house. And that can be something where maybe she has to cut a concert short or she can't travel somewhere. And that's a possibility where there's not a success when it comes to something either international or it could be court type of thing, ninth house, or it could be something that has to do with like a educational institution. Well, yeah, I think she made an attempt. It's hard to figure out what to donate because you don't wanna look like money's nothing, you know? You want it to be like it's valuable. So I think she did a good job, but I thought it was very telling that it wasn't from her and Travis. They didn't put their money together. It was just from her. So I think potentially a way that she's sort of still wants to keep her own identity. Yeah. I know the old unlucky 22. The parade, when a woman died, she donated 100,000. Yes, that's what we're talking about, right? Um, yeah, there you go. So she always talks about 13 as her lucky number. Well, it's because her house activates. It's not always lucky, but for her lately. And did you see how she was saying something publicly, like maybe it was at the Las Vegas party. She's like, "What is happening in my life right now?" And I laughed to myself and I thought, we know what's happening. She doesn't, but we know. And it looks like just a ton of excitement, success, but there is that yod to Uranus this year. And Uranus is, where did I put it? Here we go. Right here. And that is, surprise, surprise, it can mean upsets. It can mean that wow, I wasn't expecting that. And it is right on her ascendant. So it's almost as if whatever happens that's a shock, now it could be a good surprise too, either good surprise or a bad shock, it's right on her ascendant. So that means that she is being identified as part of that equation. As a great example, the Kansas City, terror and the murders, and she's associated with it. So it's like Uranus brings her in whatever shape or form it is. And that was telling there. Okay. So yeah, it's funny, her first houses, they look empty. They don't look like much. But I will tell you this, April 13th to May 13th look pretty good. I mean, good for a surprise because we're doing so December 13th, January, February, March. April. Okay. April 13th. Why do I pick April 13th? Well, if we're talking about a president, we're talking about the Regulus degrees. And isn't it interesting that her fifth house represents this year, it's right on the sun degree, the king degree. So this is when we're going to maybe really hear a ramp up with maybe some bullying. And whenever you have Black Moon Lilith in any house, you want to look and say, what's going on in there? Because this is some shady stuff. It looks like people are going to tell her about what it is. The moon is here, the moon's on her side. This is the public, and it's pointed straight at the fifth house. So everybody loves her. Jupiter can even be a man from the past, so that might be showing up and supporting somehow. And but there is what is really nice when you see a T square here. This is a stop. It is stopping this Black Moon Lilith. So it looks as if a potential villain is he's very famous, or she, because you can see the moon is trining this person, but it's a king of some sort. The fifth house is ruled by kings. So let's see how April 13th let's see how April 13th just plays out, I guess. And April 13th to May 13th. Who is this person? I think I know. I talk about Black Moon Lilith a lot because it gives us such detail about where to look for maybe the bad guy. Yes, regarding Uranus on the ascendant, she's definitely going to expect the unexpected, or maybe she will expect. We don't know. If she watched a show, she would expect it. But I know. I mean, it's not good. That year, it shows that the boyfriend disappoints you, and it certainly would show that, and also that he goes missing too in the 12th house. You can't see him anymore. Often that'll happen when they do something stupid. Yeah, I know. I know. She always has to have some kind of press about a man who wants to take advantage and basically claim credit. So between Kanye and Scooter and Trump, and I'm sure there's a slew of others, it must be frustrating. Yes, exactly. Yep. So we have Pluto. Pluto couldn't be any stronger on her MC, and Uranus couldn't be any stronger on her ascendant. So this is very, very intense. And it looks like her significant other, not that we're here to talk about him in this show, because we're going to talk about Trump in a second. But Jupiter is squaring Pluto on her MC, which shows that, maybe he can't take it. Yeah, and to the Venus, I know. Yeah. So you look I look to her first thing every time. She's my soulmate. Exactly. Get out of her way and stop dragging her. Okay. Now what we're going to do is we're going to look at Trump. Now this is a really interesting chart. Now this is pretty simple. I didn't add the aspects for this one, but I did. I'm going to bring it in a second. Check out how he has Neptune on his ascendant. Now, when that's the case, people can say or categorize you as a fraud. And so that's what it would be this year. It's right on his ascendant, couldn't be any stronger. And then sextiling Pluto would be a gigantic fraud. Now, this person, Trump, is having trouble because Neptune is the ruler of the chart. And you can see a square to the sun, which is the government. And in Gemini, that can be a small court or it could be a group of courts, which would be the case. He's been in court a couple of times. So it's been difficult for him. I feel so bad for him, to be honest. Just kidding. But But this is his. I shouldn't say those things because this is the human experience and this is what he's assigned to do. Now, with okay, you think it's going to get worse, Toy? Now we have Neptune, and this starts last June. So we've got June, July, August, September, October, November, December, January, February. Okay. So we're looking at what's being activated, and that's his ninth house. Isn't that interesting? It's a big court decision, which would be happening right now. And that started February 14th. So it's activating. And so we're looking at Jupiter here. Jupiter and the moon is extremely famous court case, and it's squaring Pluto and it's squaring Venus and Mars in Leo. So basically, wanting to get away with something is Black Moon Lilith. And the moon also represents his family too. So his family is going to be mentioned in these court documents. Interesting. So also, the sun represents the sixth house, which is court matters. So he is not doing well with court matters this year because his ruling planet is squaring the sun, court matters and the government. Saturn can also be the government because it represents Capricorn. So we look to both. Now, we are coming up on, this will be March 14th. And then we get to April 14th. And then we get to May 14th. Okay. And there's some headlines that are going to be happening here. Probably the appeal around these 2 months, right before he flips over to his 2024 chart. Definitely going to be talking about money, that's for sure, because Pluto is trining Mercury, which is to speak a lot of words about money and financial documents. So there might be some headlines about financial documents coming out, maybe being released, and to really show what he's doing. So that is going to be March, April 14th. Between April 14th and May 14th, we might see like a data dump or something. Okay. And then I'm going to add the aspects, and that makes it look really bad. So we're coming up onto his MC, which is basically March 14th. And this is something that seems pretty serious here because we're working our way into a T square. And just it looks like a big fight. Looks like something about the court documents. He's fighting those court documents, but he's not winning because, Neptune is his planet and it's right at that T square. He's causing some trouble. At least um, he and Melania seem to be getting along. Let's look at his wife here. Mercury is going to represent her. Oh, there might be some headlines about her. Mercury is trining Pluto. Looks like money to me. This is financial. Of course, she's in the financial house, in the second house. So it looks like possible financial talk. Let's just say that because Mercury is in Gemini. So interesting. Yes, I agree with the chat. We have seen their son, and he's a stunner. I mean, he is just a very attractive child. And all right, so now we've got 2024. This starts June. And I want to see Taylor in here. I was kind of looking for her in this past chart, but it seems as if he's a little bit busy. He might not have time for her. Yes, I know Baron, he's amazing. So we'll see what happens. He might have we should look at his chart. Actually, let me do before we look at Trump's chart, and this is going to be something. Let's do some cards. What can we expect between the relations of Trump and Taylor Swift? We'll just pick one card for that. What can we expect this year, 2024, between, how they communicate with each other, what they're doing? Oh, that's weird. Interesting. So I wonder if this could be bullying about maybe the romance and how the romance is going. So that's a possibility. And maybe lost love, maybe something about, there might be some teasing. That's in my mind. Of course, that's what he's going to do. And let's see. Your dad was 6'7". That's amazing. You must be pretty tall too. Yes, I will, Marianne. You know what? Let me just do 2 on that first question. What will happen between Taylor Swift? Can you give us some kind of clarification on what to expect between those two this year? Whoa, the Empress. Well, the Empress can mean secrets, right? But don't tell me that Taylor is pregnant. I refuse to believe it. I refuse. But it is the world. What do you think that means? Marion, I need you. That was wild how Amber pulled that for the royal show with regard to Camilla. That was in the Camilla show. I was like, oh my God. So 5'10" isn't that short, toy. So those are the 2 cards. All right, so let me ask something else. How is Taylor going to react to anything from the Trump team? Can you tell us how Taylor will react? Oh, that's nice. She's got the world on a string. She's got everything she wants. She's going to be positive, and she's got the world behind her. And she's on world tour. So there's a possibility that she's busy doing that and she doesn't have time to comment. All right, we'll ask one more. Okay. Fertile ground to let things happen. That would be the Empress. Yes. Okay, one more card for this, how she will react. 7 of Wands. That's amazing. Yep. She's just got everything that she needs. It just looks like a very positive card. Yeah, she's got all of her Swifties. And it looks pretty good, but the wands, aren't the wands in the fall? Marion, tell me. I can't remember. So that's pretty interesting. Now, I'm just going to go back to my deck real quick. She won't stop. He's going down to her. Okay. Yeah. So he tries to meet her wherever she is. She's not pursuing anything as far as any offense with him, it seems. She's kind of busy. She's doing her own thing. Now, this is Trump starting in June. This is an important one, okay? Now, what I see here is it looks a little tough for him. We've got June, July, August, September, October, okay? October is pretty weak because it's on the 29th degree of Libra. And we have Venus here in the 12th house. So something is happening with hidden enemies. We've got a lot of hidden enemies. Looks like a blonde woman in there who's really good with words, Mercury. And there's just a lot of fighting. This is concerning. This is going to be as October. And just a lot of scandal. Look at how Neptune is there. So could be women in his past that are coming out. I like to see the moon when it comes to Taylor Swift, but he's the moon this year. He is a Cancer rising. So let's look at him. He's here in the third house. Of course, he's talking third house. And the thing is that there's an opposition to Saturn. And that can mean, you know, Saturn moon is death. So death of something. So we're talking June, July, August. Interesting how his third house is in Regulus this year, talking about the king, the president. So this is going to be, August is going to be a major month for Trump, starting August 14th, ending September 14th. What is that opposition? It just looks like there's going to be some heartache of some sort. Third house, Leo rules the heart. Now, let's see here. We have just a lot of stuff happening here. November comes around, and that's going to be Jupiter. Wow. Jupiter is here, and it's in the 11th house of hopes and dreams. I was not expecting that. And there is a trine, but Black Moon Lilith is there. There's a trick up somebody's sleeve that is working. And that's November. And there's nothing that's stopping him that month. So that's really interesting. Hi, Summer Rae. Nice to see you. What about sickness? I know. Well, that's what I was thinking about Saturn and Moon. I mean, that can be tough. That could be heart related stuff because Leo rules that house where you see Saturn Moon. And sixth house represents his health. That's Jupiter. And I don't see anything unless you're looking at Uranus. Excuse me. I would say because that can sometimes mean a surprise, but just not seeing anything that is obvious about the health. The only thing that looks really, really rough for him is August. And this group of people here is a blonde girl. She's in a foreign place, could be on world tour, I don't know. But there is definitely a clash in August. So we're going to have to see what that's all about. Been watching his charts for a minute because he gives me a lot to work with. Well, we do not want or intend to cause negativity towards anyone because all it does is just come back on us. And we don't talk. That's why I kind of put this on a private chat because unless I slip, I really want this to be a discussion about the human experience, what happens, how to make predictions. And, if we are talking about a villain, then, whether it's Trump or anybody else, we just want to see what's behind the curtain. What is behind the curtain? Notice that there is a big kite here with Neptune. Neptune, there's going to be yet again a big, big, big fraud. It's going to be a fraud. We don't know by whom. let's say it could be by anybody, but that's really, really what it's all about. There's some kind of fraud taking place, but it's not going to be successful. Why is it not going to be successful? Because we have the fraud up here and it falls. Boom. And look what's down there, part of fortune. It doesn't work. So that's really interesting. You know, I think he has plans to steal Gemini to take the election. He could do it. This supports him being able to if this T square doesn't get in his way, there is a possibility that he might be successful with the election. And now these people are also, it looks like these people are warning about the fraud, but they're not able to. They're like, it's there, it's there. Look, it's right up here. You can't see it, and nobody can see it. This is foreign money, foreign documents, and it's not, it's being buried somehow. 12th house is to disappear. You can't see it. So that's part of that T square. I guess if you're really looking for answers, you always want to go back to the chart ruler, which would be moon. Nice sextile to the third house, able to speak to the public and talk about service. You've got Virgo in here, although it's also being very critical. This is a tough aspect here. So, it's let's see, look for August 14th to September 14th. It's going to show what happens here, but somehow somebody's going to try to stop him, I think. I really think that. So, Colby says, yes, there are some of the people's charts that I do not like at all. I'm not here for that. I just want to learn how to do charts. Thanks for that. Yeah. I mean, we see these people a lot in the news and they're so critical and they come out swinging. And then what happens? They get sick and really, really bad sickness, terminal sometimes. Thank you, Shauna. That's very sweet. Yes, we try to be fair and even, but there are obvious things that we see. And, sometimes our real opinions come out. And, there are some people who really want to be the star of the show, want to lead, want to win, want the power. And, we're seeing that play out here a lot with Trump. Now, I'm not saying Trump's the only one. On the other side, we could get into, I mean, we've got villains on both sides of the aisle, no doubt. Who is Taylor Swift in this chart? You do have a blonde woman here who speaks very well. It's in the 12th house. It's got to be somebody who's speaking from a foreign country. They are squaring the moon. They are squaring him. So I think they might actually be doing a good job of trying to stop him. That's when a square can stop somebody. But he might be trying to do the same with them. So it's hard to tell there. Hey, Edith Silva, nice to see you. He certainly has some good things in his chart, but it's hard to overcome Saturn and Moon. So not sure what that is. Actually, why don't we ask the cards? Let's see. All right, Spirit. We are looking at Saturn and Moon in a T square with Venus, Mercury, and Sun in the 12th house. And we're thinking that something is going to play out for him in August, starting in, what is it? August 14th. not far off from Taylor Swift's birthday. But what can you tell us about what's going to happen in August and, how it might fare for Trump? Okay. We've got some stuff where this could be tough. Now, if you get this up right, it means that a lot of stuff has happened and you're able to continue to keep the boat steady and you're in the boat and you're safe. But this is in the middle of a storm. And his boat is basically flipping over. There's also a woman in there in red, so could be some angry women. Mhm. It is a 6 of swords. 6 of swords. Reversed. Obviously reversed. So, yeah. Mhm. All right, I'm gonna pull another card. There you go. All right. Yeah, it's definitely not good. Let's see. Can you give us some other detail about what could happen in August because of that Saturn opposing moon in Donald Trump's solar chart? Thank you, Spirit. 10 of Pentacles. Okay, a family occasion. All right, then something that could potentially happen maybe during a family occasion or when he's with everyone. I mean, August is the time when people relax and recharge. So, yeah, exactly. Yeah. Will this episode, whatever happens, um, will this affect the election? 5 of Pentacles reversed. What do you think? 5 of Pentacles reversed. Looks like it will. Looks like it will. A reverse of that, though. I think that might be a no. I don't think it's going to affect the election because it's reversed. Yeah, it's better reversed. So, yeah, I don't think it's gonna affect it. It seems like it will from the chart, but then he's got that grand trine afterwards. So it's a possibility that something will happen and that's going to help, gain more support. So maybe it is, you think he gets money? That's a possibility. Yeah, maybe he gets more support from whatever is going to happen. So nobody wants to see that opposition with Saturn and Moon. That's for sure. It could just be fear. And it could be fear from that group of women in the 12th house. So these are hidden women, these are foreign women, these are women who look alike. Um, these are women who are speaking, but are having a hard time communicating what they want to communicate for some reason. So you don't think he wins? Okay. Yeah. Unless there's fraud, then that's a whole other issue. And we sure have, because remember, we had Neptune right on his ascendant this year. He's been basically categorized or called a fraud. But now we're talking about something pretty strong up in his 10th house. And that's his career, and it's what everybody's seeing. I think we what we want to see, which is there, is that the fraud does not work. So whatever is being planned seems like it could be actually very successful for the most part, but there's one thing that brings it down, and that was that opposition with part of fortune. So I know I'm learning along with you. Thank goodness I have Marion and I have a couple of other folks that are helping me. And, why not start start looking at it. And Marion was sweet enough to pitch in for some new tarot cards too, which I'm going to get, and we can all learn together. So anyway, I mean, what a soap opera! Always a soap opera. We're going to see. Like this is like the last chapter, I think, of Trump and what he's capable of. We've seen a lot that he's capable of, but what will be next? So, I think there is, why don't we do a horary? That's what we should do. Let's do a horary. Let's ask a question about if there's a fraud that takes place this year during the election season, what will it be? Can you tell us information? Right. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to share this. And I'm going to go to AstroSeek. Oops. And it is 7:57 when I asked that. So I'm going to put that in Central Time. All right. And I'm going to hide this part. Hold on one second. And it is February 16th. Now, what we're doing looking at this horary is we're looking for Neptune. We want to get some more information about the fraud that could potentially affect the US. Okay. Oh my goodness. Wow. Okay. Oh, this is a lot. This is a lot. Hold on. Hold the phone. Oh my God. Wait till you see this. All right. Look at that. Wow. Okay, you can see now, I think. Yeah, I took it off because I didn't want you to know. Now, the horary is like a tarot card. And so basically, your conscious mind is asking something, and the the stars, the sky is all mapped out, and it's like a mirror. So you're looking at what you're thinking about, and it's showing the entire story of your thought and can answer questions for you. So we have a lot of Aquarius. Aquarius is digital. Well, that's probably predictable. Look at all of that Aquarius. And we have part of fortune. This is, all right, this is what I'm going to do. I am going to mark this up. Hang on. Let me add it to my slideshow. All right, and I'm going to label it Horary. Tell us about the fraud. So glad this is on the member channel. I don't know if I would want this for everybody to see. You just never know. Share this tab. Okay. Right, here we go. So basically I just asked a question. Oh, sorry, I got this full size in there. I hate how it does that. All right, I'm taking it out again. I can't stand this. Oh, hold on. I'm going to try it one more time. And again, horary question. Tell us about potential fraud that could come up this year. Now, of course, I can't find it. Where the heck did it go? All right. History. Here we go. All right, let me try this one more time. You guys are being so patient. And then I'm going to put it in here. So much Aquarius and a T square with Neptune showing that the fraud's not going to work. All right, let's see this here. Okay. Yep, look at the stelliums. I know. Mhm. Ugh. I just hate politics. I seriously, you know, it's just it's just disappointing. That's all I have to say about American politics. But anyway, let's look at potential fraud. Now, what we want to see is, I mean, we're asking about fraud, so we're going to go straight to Neptune, and it's right here, right there. And let's back up. What's the chart ruler? That's number one. Mercury is right here. It's in the fifth house, the Leo house. Chart ruler. Okay. And look at this. Just like in the Super Bowl chart, we had a square to Uranus for the 49ers. Upset. There's an upset. Mercury rules the chart. It's also a thief. Okay. So it's a digital thief. And then there's a kite with, you can see the north node. This is what they want. Aries, I don't know, win the war. I don't know what that means, but it looks like it's trying to gain height. But we've got 18 degrees right now. It's not good to start anything right now. The nodes are at 18 degrees. Wait till they get another degree in there. So we're talking some kind of evil kite. That's what I'm going to call this. And what's really interesting is that we're seeing that the thief succeeds. Okay. You see that part of fortune up there? That's succeeding. It's trining the thief. So it could be a successful thief. The thief who stole the election, but it's in the fifth house of families. So could be family data. They could be, I mean, we have, look at this. This is a ton of people. Pluto's like a million, or hundreds of thousands of people. And it looks like some kind of names. Mercury is names. And Neptune is fake names. Yeah. So they're flooding something with digital names, but you've got Neptune here and it is squaring part of fortune. So it's not going to work. It's not going to work, but it's going to come close. Yeah. So if anybody, was interested, if they were working on the opposite side, they would say, how are they doing this? But the fifth house does represent, like, you know what? Oh, look at this. Oh my God. Are you guys seeing this? The fifth house is in Capricorn. Old family names. That's what it is. Old family names that aren't being used anymore. Somehow there's some kind of, I don't know, but maybe there's some way this digital, I don't know, repository of old names of people who are dead, Capricorn, that's going to come in. And this is going to make headlines. Oh, is this going to make headlines? Oh my God, you guys. This fraud is going to be busted. Uranus is right on the ninth house of courts, and it's also in the press. Just like we saw in the Super Bowl, where there was an upset, there was an injury. That was Uranus for the 49ers. But in this case, we are talking about somebody in the campaign that's going to be busted. And it's going to involve old names in some old database. That's what I'm thinking. So we will revisit this. It's February 16th. We'll see what happens. But yeah, I mean, this is a big clue. Look at how much is in Aquarius. And I was talking about a big break-in because of Aquarius. Still thinking that might happen in the next couple of weeks because of all of this. This is somebody breaking into something. So maybe that's part of it. I don't know. Um, yeah. Yep. That's true. Yes, Colby, good one. Old family name, that's a possibility. Let's see. I mean, if we really looked at it, you could get these contenders. Um, Mercury is one of them. You know, I don't know if that would be Biden or RFK being in Pisces, but um, then we've got a very famous woman. I'll say that. It's a famous woman. This might even be Taylor Swift. Look at how there's ninth house. So that's helping things along, at least that party. But I don't know. Certainly seems like some kind of digital scam. This is a scam right here, and it does not work. So if we are thinking that somebody might steal the election right at the 11th hour, just calm down. It looks like it's going to be okay. Oof. Well, anyway, I hope you guys can join me tomorrow. And we're going to look for a missing woman, and we need your help. So please dial in. And that's going to be at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. So, yeah, I know. I think we're going to be okay. We'll have to we're going to have to pull some more cards. Maybe we should pull one more card about that. Okay. About the fraud. Maybe can you can you tell us any more about this potential crime or upset? Isn't this one? Okay. That could happen that has to do with the digital side of things. Can you tell us how they will be found out? How about that? How will this stolen effort play out? How will this be revealed? How about that? Queen of Cups. Oh, ho, ho, ho. Somebody's going to come out. Could be female. Could be female. She's going to tell all. Maybe it's a witness. Maybe it is a witness. Mercury is a witness. Squaring Uranus is a shocking witness or a witness that shocks. Seems like it's a woman, guys. All right. So I'm going to leave you with that. Thanks again and see you tomorrow.